So one of the most important parts of dispatch boards is being able to access and use information about individual drivers. And because we don't want to display everything on this page, which would make it quite unreadable, a lot of that information is stored within the individual driver window. So in order to access that, you can go ahead and click on any of these little tiny user icons at the top. If you hover over them, it will give you some of this information at a glance: their phone number, the last time they were online, any app version, whether or not they're linked up to an ELD, and things like that. But if we go ahead and click on any one of these drivers, it's going to pull up the individual driver window, which we're going to go over every one of these tabs in here and show the information in here. But this is where a lot of the heavy lifting in managing drivers is within the dispatch system in LoadCall. The first tab in the individual driver window in dispatch is the assigned jobs tab. So in here you can see all of the loads that have been assigned to this driver, along with the time that it was assigned, the person who assigned it, and the order that they have been assigned in. If you want to change the order, you can click and drag to move a job up or down in priority. So I just swapped 3 with 4. We can go ahead and do that again. The other thing you can do in here is rerouter load. So if you click on the reroute load, you can go ahead and change if some of the locations or other information on the job has changed. Additionally, if you want to unassign a load, you could go ahead and click on this unassign and confirm that you want to unassign the load from this driver. And one thing to note up here also is that if they are actively working on a load, it will show up as green as opposed to this kind of dark gray color. And in here, if you wanted to move a load above their active load, it's going to, they'll still probably be working on this one, and then they'll work on this one. If you want to change them, there is this star icon to set as active load, but you only want to use this if you've already communicated with the driver and want them to switch, because it'll probably interrupt their workflow. So you'll want to go ahead and use this button very sparingly, only when in communication with the driver, since it'll actually take them from the screen where they're filling out measurements or getting directions for the green load that they're working on, and do it with a different load here. A couple other things to note: down here you can see the last time this driver was online, as well as the installed app version they have and the version they're using. So this person's using Android 1.2.12, which is 5 versions behind, so you may want to tell them to update their app. The second tab for the driver window here is the past jobs tab. So in here you can see the loads that are currently assigned to them, as well as loads that they have already completed previously. So as you scroll down, you can see the most recent jobs. You can click on next to go to the next job that they completed chronologically and continue through their history, seeing timestamps of when it was assigned. And then if you hover over here and click on the icon here, you can pull up the actual job window where you have access to all of the information about that specific load. The next tab in the driver window is the driver information tab, which is pretty straightforward. In here you have their name, contact information, so phone and email, the region they're assigned to, their carrier, truck, trailer, any of this generic contact information, and then as well as the last online. In here also, however, we have the ability to edit their equipment assignments. So if they need to swap their truck or trailer, if they're having an equipment issue, you can go ahead and come and do that in here. You can unlink and relink them in here, as well as see other trucks and trailers within their carrier group. The other options in here, an important one is to be able to link them to an ELD. So if I come and click on this, then you can go ahead and click on the type of ELD that you want them to link to, and you would have to put in their driver ID number, search the database of that specific ELD, and link them that way. The other options in here are to open up their compliance or onboarding file if you want to refer to some documents that they've uploaded within those processes. So if I click on that, it'll open it up actually in a new tab, so I can come back here pretty quickly into this page. But in here you can access compliance and onboarding information, which includes ELD or medical cards, CDLs, things of that nature, inspections. So quick reference to any of that sort of information from this page is possible as well. The next tab in here is the driver settings tab. So in here we've got a few options that we can turn on and off for our specific driver. So in here you can allow them to override or not override calculated cargo, which would be something like barrels if you're using a strap tank for crude oil or something like that. And here you can change their status from on duty, off duty, or broken down, which is kind of why some of these are flashing green and red, is based on their status. The supervisors also have the ability to go in and put them in or out of service depending on their equipment situation when they get inspections. So you can edit that in here as dispatch as well. If you need to, if a supervisor calls in and says to change them, you can do that. And then you can also require that a driver does an equipment scan every day, and some other settings in here. I don't think authorized cargo is set up in here, but in some circumstances you can change cargo types so that if there's a hazmat or some other thing that needs to be checked off on a driver by driver basis, whether or not they're trained or able to handle a specific type of cargo, you can handle that in here. For this demo account, I haven't configured that, but that is an option if you need that as well. The next tab in our driver window here is the driver's physical location. So this is pretty straightforward. If you click on this pin icon, you can come in and load the map and see where this driver currently is located. So you can switch to a satellite view or a traditional map view. You can zoom in and out, use street view. This is just a Google map basically. But you also have their latitude, longitude, their heading, and their speed. So right now, because they are not moving, we don't really have a heading since we don't know which direction they're going since they're not really moving. But if they're moving, you would have the coordinates here, and the truck would actually rotate to indicate which direction they were moving. So pretty straightforward for the maps. Our next tab is the driver notes tab. So if I click on here, you have a board of sticky notes where you can go ahead and put information that is handy for dispatchers to know about a specific driver. So in here I have a couple examples: driver needs hazmat training, requested weekend off. If I want, I can go ahead and edit these. Maybe I got that wrong. Next week off or whatever. You can also go ahead and delete these or create new ones. Choosing a color here, we'll go ahead and edit this and say test note. And these are also visible. If I come out here and hover over them, on this little tooltip at the bottom underneath the line, you can see the driver needs hazmat training and test note with the little sticky pad icons. So if you create those will show up here as well as in here, so that there's a quick reference that you don't need to come in here to see them, but you do need to come into this window and tab in order to edit these notes. The last tab in the driver window here is the messaging driver tab. So if I come into here, I can see all of the other messages that have been sent previously and go ahead and reply to them by typing into here and clicking send. So he said, let me know if you hear back from Pill. Say okay, click send, and this will fire off to our driver, and they'll be able to reply back and forth like that. So, and that's kind of it for the driver window here within LoadCall.